It's time for our TV roundup. Smash.
Smash.
Yay, smash.
Smash.
You two have just seen it. David, why don't you start?
Okay, so there's been a lot of buzz on the internet about Smash, and the word is that Smash is kind of a ripoff of Glee.
Yeah, I heard that,
Yeah. And other than the fact that both Smash and Glee are about musical theater, they have nothing else in common. Glee is about a high school glee club and what it takes to get through high school and be in a glee club and put on shows. Smash is very much an adult show. It is about the trials and tribulations of the process of putting on a major Broadway musical on Broadway. It literally starts from the start of the idea for the musical, and we're gonna watch it go the entire process to opening night.
The musical they're putting on is about the life of Marilyn Monroe.
So the most cliche figure in female dramatic history.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Smash is, of course, about musical theater, but it is, I believe, a serialized drama. We're going to see week in, week out, the building of the story, how they put everything together, and it is an ensemble cast. In the first 15 minutes of Smash, you think it's a star vehicle for Debra Messing.
Yeah, I thought
right?
the same.
But then she kind of steps into the background, and we get the other characters' story arcs and their development.
In high school, I worked props for 3 on a match.
That was our first hit.
It wasn't actually a hit.
It had a respectable run. 82 performances.
I felt happy. Even just being backstage, I don't know. I felt whole.
When I read that buzz that it was going to be like Glee, I had no interest in seeing it. Then I found out, no, it's going to be a drama, a serious drama about the difficulties of putting on one of these top-end Broadway musicals, and executive produced by Steven Spielberg. I was like, gotta see it. And I sat there watching it, and I have to say, I got more disappointed the more the show went on. The best comparison I can make is to a show that I admired called Studio 60.
On the Sunset Strip.
That's right. Created and written by Aaron Sorkin, who had done The West Wing. He was a great writer. It had great performances. It was a slick show, and it should have been a success, but it wasn't. Why? Because it treated so seriously the ups and downs of producers putting on Saturday Night Live. And you know what? Even though I was hanging on every word, every single person I talked to said, we don't care. I think that they take missteps with this by making it too much about the internal squabblings and going on, how difficult it is to put the musical on. To us, who live and breathe TV and love TV, that's compelling. To the rest of America, not so much.
Okay, I have seen enough police procedurals and detective procedurals and medical procedurals and political procedurals to keep me for the rest of my life. This is something brand new. Something that I know nothing about, and I think we've talked about this on Glee, is that I'm not a big fan of musical theater, but I really like Glee. I don't know anything about what it takes to put on a major Broadway musical. And this exposed me to something brand new, something I knew nothing about. And I think that's the allure of any story, is show me something new. And that's what this show does, is it shows you a process that most of us don't know what it takes.
I haven't seen this show. I've only seen the marketing material. And through the advertising, it looks incredibly predictable. It looks like pretty people who just want to dance.
They don't really have a lot of musical numbers in the pilot or episode 2, which we saw. There's one big musical dance number, and there's a number of smaller musical numbers. One of them is really wonderful, where the 2 young actresses who are preparing for the role are singing as they're going to the audition.
My favorite musical part of it, actually.
Right. It juxtaposes the 2 of them singing in New York on the street as they're going.
They're not on stage.
They're not on stage.
It's part of the story.
Right. It's part of the story. And then suddenly they're in the audition and they're singing their hearts out. But there's also a lot of really wonderful subplots going on here. For example, Anjelica Huston, who they drop in right in the middle of the pilot. You think, okay, that's stunt casting. But her character and her role is really organic in where it shows up. She's going through a very bitter divorce, and she really has a lot of faith in this story and the possibility of this musical being a big hit, and she's one of the driving forces behind it.
Please, can we please just try to get through this?
I'm trying to get through this, but if you're going to be vindictive about it...
Vindictive?
Unrealistic, then. You came into this marriage with nothing.
Except love.
And David, you mentioned all the things that Studio 60 had. Studio 60 was something we'd never seen before. And in fact, a lot more people watched Saturday Night Live, which was what Studio 60 was about. That's what they were supposed to be making. Than have seen Broadway musicals, which is what they're supposed to be making on Smash. And yet, they clearly voted with their feet. They didn't care.
You know, I just don't think we're going to be able to agree on this, Dennis.
Doesn't seem like it.
All right, well, why don't you take your tickets?
Okay.
All right. You know, I wanted to like this show, but it's just filled with unlikable characters, with situations I didn't care about. And I have to say, that adds up to a skip it.
Well, I really like this show, and I'm fascinated to see where it goes, which definitely means it's a see it.
Well, looks like your votes add up to 1 ticket, which is a stream it for Smash.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Okay.
Cheers.